The year was 312 AD. The Roman Empire was fractured, torn apart by rival rulers vying for control. In the west, Constantine, son of Constantius Chlorus, ruled from Gaul and Britannia. In the east, his greatest adversary, Maxentius, controlled Rome itself. Maxentius was no ordinary foe. He had fortified the city, commanded a vast army, and declared himself the rightful emperor. To secure his claim, Constantine had no choice but to march on Rome. But his forces were outnumbered. As he set up camp near the Tiber River, anxiety gripped his army. The soldiers whispered among themselves. Maxentius had the home advantage, and Rome's defenses were strong. As the sun set, Constantine stepped away from his generals. Walking in solitude, under the darkening sky, he had heard of the Christian God from his mother, Saint Helena, and from some of his own advisors. But could this unseen God truly aid him in battle? Then it happened. As Constantine gazed at the heavens, a brilliant light appeared, piercing the darkness. The sun dimmed, and in its place, a cross of pure radiance shone above him. Beneath the cross, fiery letters formed a phrase, "In hoc signo vinces." In this sign, you shall conquer. The emperor fell to his knees, shielding his eyes from the brilliance. His heart pounded. Was this a message from the divine? That night, as he lay in his tent, a second vision came to him in a dream. A voice spoke, urging him to mark his soldiers' shields with the Chi-Rho, the sacred symbol of Christ. The voice promised that with this sign, he would emerge victorious. At dawn, Constantine summoned his officers. "Last night, I saw a vision," he declared. "A sign of great power. We shall bear it into battle." The soldiers painted the Chi-Rho onto their shields, banners, and armor. With renewed spirit, they prepared for war. On October 28, 312 AD, Constantine's forces clashed with Maxentius's army near the Milvian Bridge. The battle was fierce. Shields clashed, swords rang, and the air was thick with the cries of war. Yet something extraordinary happened. Though outnumbered, Constantine's army overpowered Maxentius's legions. The Chi-Rho standard was held high, gleaming in the sunlight as if infused with divine power. Seeing his forces falter, Maxentius panicked. He ordered a retreat across the bridge, but in the chaos, the structure collapsed. Maxentius himself was thrown into the river, dragged beneath the waters by the weight of his armor. His soldiers, leaderless and broken, surrendered. As Constantine entered Rome, the people welcomed him as a liberator. Standing before the cheering crowds, he made a bold decree. "The Christian God has granted us victory. From this day forth, his followers shall have peace." And so, in 313 AD, Constantine and his co-emperor Licinius issued the Edict of Milan, officially ending the persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire. Though Constantine had embraced Christianity, he longed for deeper proof of the faith's power. His mother, Saint Helena, a devoted Christian, vowed to help. "My son," she told him, "if you seek Christ, seek him where he walked." Despite her advanced age, Saint Helena embarked on a sacred journey to the Holy Land. Arriving in Jerusalem in 326 AD, she set out to find the relics of Christ's Passion. Her search led her to Golgotha, the site of the crucifixion, but centuries had passed, and the holy place had been buried beneath a pagan temple. With unwavering determination, Helena ordered the temple to be torn down. Then, beneath the rubble, workers uncovered 3 wooden crosses. But which one was the true cross? A test was devised. A sick woman, near death, was brought to touch each cross. When she touched the third, her illness vanished, and she stood, healed and strong. Saint Helena wept with joy. The true cross had been found. She also discovered the holy nails that pierced Christ's hands and feet, fragments of the crown of thorns, the Scala Sancta, the steps where Christ stood before Pontius Pilate. These sacred relics were sent to Rome and enshrined in the Basilica of Santa Croce in Gerusalemme, where they remain to this day. The Holy Lance, also known as the Spear of Longinus, is one of the most intriguing relics associated with Christ's Passion. According to tradition, Saint Helena, the mother of Emperor Constantine, is believed to have discovered this sacred artifact during her pilgrimage to the Holy Land in the 4th century AD. The Holy Lance, guided by Christian leaders and historical accounts, Helena's search led her to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the site of Christ's burial and resurrection. There, excavations reportedly uncovered a long, ancient spearhead buried near the remains of the true cross. Believers identified it as the very lance used by Longinus, the Roman centurion who pierced Christ's side to confirm his death. John 19:34, also known as the Spear of Longinus, it is one of the most intriguing relics associated with Christ's passion. These relics were symbols of divine favor and legitimacy, reinforcing his belief that his rule was guided by Christ. The Holy Lance, like the true cross, became a powerful emblem of Christian kingship, influencing medieval rulers who sought to possess it as a sign of God's blessing in battle and governance. The arrival of the holy relics in Constantinople. It was a moment of great triumph and deep reverence. When Saint Helena returned from her pilgrimage to the Holy Land, she did not come empty-handed. She carried with her some of the most sacred artifacts of Christian history, such as the true cross, the holy nails, the crown of thorns, and the holy lance that had pierced Christ's side. A sacred procession. Helena's ship arrived in Constantinople, greeted with great fanfare. Priests, bishops, and citizens lined the harbor, their voices rising in hymns of praise. Torchlight flickered on the waters, and the air was thick with the scent of burning incense. At the heart of the city, Constantine stood waiting not as an emperor clad in imperial robes, but as a man humbled before the relics of Christ. When Helena presented them to him, she knelt before her son, as if acknowledging that these treasures did not belong to Rome, but to God himself. Constantine's reaction. As Constantine beheld the relics, his heart swelled with awe and gratitude. He reached out, his fingers trembling slightly as they touched the wood of the true cross. A deep silence fell upon the gathered court. Tears welled in his eyes. He whispered, "This is the proof. Proof that the vision of the Chi-Rho was real. Proof that his faith was not in vain. Proof that the God of the Christians had truly guided him to victory and granted him dominion over the empire." The emperor's decree. Overcome with reverence, Constantine made a vow these relics would never be mere treasures hidden away in his palace. He ordered the construction of grand basilicas, where they would be enshrined, places where all people, not just the emperor, could witness the power of Christ's passion. The true cross was divided: part was sent to Rome, and part remained in Constantinople. The holy nails were fashioned into his personal armor, the bridle of his warhorse, symbolizing that he ruled and fought under Christ's protection. The crown of thorns was enshrined as a relic of Christ's suffering and kingship. The holy lance, signifying both Christ's sacrifice and the divine right of rulers, became a cherished emblem of Christian sovereignty. A spiritual transformation. This was no longer the Constantine who had simply sought victory at the Milvian Bridge. This was a man profoundly changed by faith. From that day, he no longer saw himself merely as the ruler of Rome, but as a servant of the one true God. He turned to his mother and took her hands. "You have given Rome more than an empire," he said. "You have given it Christ." And with that, the relics became not only symbols of power, but of redemption, marking the dawn of a new era for the Roman Empire.